right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast show for business owners to shine. I am your host, Kelly Edwards, and today we're talking with Mrs. Judith Smith Parrott of Judith's Dessert and Boutique. So, Miss Judith, how are you doing today? I'm going to call you Miss because it's just, I was taught to address people by, with Miss in front of it. So I apologize if you don't want me to do that. I will not do it. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, and I understand where you're coming from because I was brought up the same way, and you can call me Judith.
Judith. Okay, I will call you Judith. So tell our listeners who you are and what your business does.
My name is Judith Smith Parrott. I am the owner of Judith's Dessert Boutique. It is located in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. I bake in a commercial kitchen in Ewing, New Jersey. I do Southern-inspired desserts. Although I was not born in the South was born in me.
Okay.
So I do a lot of traditional Southern desserts. Some I've learned, and others I just kind of play around with it till I get it like I think it should be.
Okay. So were you born and raised in New Jersey, or?
Born and raised I was born in New York. I lived there for about a year, and then we moved to New Jersey.
Okay. Yes, I like that. My husband was actually born in New York, and he talks about it all the time. So have you taken anything from your education and brought it into your business?
Yes, I was. I went to school for elementary education, mm-hmm. and I became an educator. And a lot of the things like I learned basically as an elementary teacher is trial and error, and keep going doing it until you get it right. And so I have brought that into the business, that part of my education.
Okay. So how did your business idea come about? Like, how did you get started in your business?
Okay. My business idea. I decided years ago I had a hat business.
Okay.
And it was semi-successful. And after being in elementary, I went into adult education. And one of my students I always baked. I loved to bake. And she said to me, "Mrs. Parrott, you're in the wrong business." And I was like, "Oh no, I just like to bake. I'm always going to do it. And it's not something I ever want to make money at because it's just like fun for me." And then I decided after I retired, and then because I retired I was about 50, and I was like, I need something to do. I just need something to do. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to try and see what happens if my baking can make me some money. And the first time somebody bought one of my lemon cakes, besides wanting to fall under the table because I didn't think, I was like, somebody actually was going to pay me for this. And then it was like, oh, okay, I can make a business out of it. So that's kind of how I got into it and where I am today.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. You basically said that you do catering events, and what other type of events do you cater for your dessert company?
I bake for a local restaurant.
Okay.
I do some cakes for that person, and I do farmers markets. I also do the catering. I do is like some of my former customers will say, I need not when I say 5 cakes, it's like mini. I do like a mini bun cake. They'll ask me, can you do these 5 to 10 cakes for me, or some cookies, or I'm having a dinner party and I need these types of desserts. That's the kind of catering I have done for companies, like I'll do like 30 cakes or like 50, like for Christmas, I'll do like assorted tins for this one, for a corporate client. I've been doing that for like, I think 5 years now. I'll do her Christmas cookies and that kind of, that's basically the catering that I'm doing.
Okay. Have you ever done weddings before?
No, because I can't bake a wedding cake.
Okay. No, I was just asking because in 2008, when I got married, I wanted to have a dessert table, just a bunch of desserts, but that's because I'm greedy. So I wanted to have that. So I was just wondering if you did weddings for like a dessert table for weddings, because I was like, that could have been a good idea too.
Sounds like a good idea. I should look into it.
Yes, you should, because that is a big business, the wedding industry. Okay, so my next question is, do you have a mentor or did someone help you get started in your business?
Yes, I have a mentor, but I will say my biggest mentor was the Score Corporate Score. I went to the Score company. It's not a company. I went to Small Business Administration to get started. And they had a special class, which was normally like Score workshops are like an hour or 45 minutes.
Mhm.
This was a 7-week course in how to start a business. And I said, if I was going to go into this type of business, I was going to learn everything that I needed to learn. So they went from marketing to business plan, um, you name it, soups to nuts, for 7 weeks, and it was extremely intensive class,
Okay.
and and through that, I won an award through Score, and I went on I got $1,000 gift certificate to Sam's and a trip to Dallas, Texas,
Ooh.
to meet with 50 other um, entrepreneurs around the country. And there was two from each state, and I was one of the ones from New Jersey. And that I can say was helped propel me to where I am today, because I learned kind of what to do and what not to do. Because when you start a business in your late 50s, you don't have much time to make mistakes.
That's true. That's true. I never even thought about that. And actually, I commend you for starting a business in your 50s, because a lot of people would be like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. It's too late. But no, you went out there and did it. So kudos to you, because I know a lot of people. I'm trying to get my mom to start a business and she's in her 50s, and that is a hard no. So, I commend you. I really do. Okay. All right. So, what is your biggest pain point in dealing with businesses these days and COVID times? Because I know it's a challenging time for everybody. So, how are you dealing with this now?
The biggest thing was, with COVID, you're not allowed for people to sample.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, especially with the desserts, people want to try them. You can say that this is the best tasting pie that you'll ever have, but if they don't know you, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
So and then being that everything is kind of, you can't have people, um, to, even like when you do set up some things, and people always want to look and kind of touch the product. You can't have them do that.
Yeah.
Um, and when COVID really struck, because people were starting to bake, so a lot of the ingredients that I was using, home bakers were buying. So like sometimes flour was hard to find, sugar, and even when you go to Restaurant Depot, what they did is they opened it up to consumers. So you used to be able to go just for a place for restaurant people to buy. You had regular people going in and shopping too. So that also took some of your product.
Yeah.
So, instantly.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it seems like you're still moving and you're pivoting with time. So that's awesome to see because, like we've heard a lot of businesses are getting shut down now and it's very sad, but you're still above water. So that's a really good thing. Um,
Well, I will say one thing. People used to ask me what was my exit plan, and I said, turn off the lights and close the door. That's my exit plan.
okay. That is so cute. Turn off the lights. Like, well, I mean, yeah, that is an exit plan, I would say. Um, so we know that entrepreneurship is a hard road. So during the difficult moments, when you may feel like you want to quit, how do you stay focused and keep moving forward and making progress?
I thank the Lord for that is my strength
Mm,
because my biggest obstacle in that has to be back about 3.5 years ago. I had a major stroke,
mm,
and I had just won the Edible Jersey Artisan of the Year.
okay.
I was doing several pop-ups. I was really becoming success, really what I considered a success. And then it struck, and I couldn't even stand up. Couldn't I had to learn to, and then I had clients. I had a lot of things going on, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't, the best I could do was to talk.
Mm,
And getting back up, that was I guess I can say that was the biggest obstacle. And the Lord kept telling me, you can do this. And then and as the scripture says, except the Lord build the house, they that labor in vain. But the Lord was building my business. And except he built, I allowed him to build the business. And that's it. And I always say, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then the Lord, I allow him to direct my path.
Amen. That's all I could say after all of that. Because you quoted, um, I'm not even sure what scripture that is, but
Psalm
yes,
27.
Psalm 27. Okay.
127.
427.
127.
127. Okay. Remember that, everybody. Psalms 127 when you're feeling like you want to quit. Um, okay. So, what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
My biggest failure was trying to be everything for everybody.
Mm,
If somebody would say, can you do this? I was going to try and do that.
mhm,
And then when I made a mess out of it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not working. And
mhm.
then go back and try it again. It's just like, no, you can't. When learning to say no. I don't know how to do that, and being able to to talk to give them suggestions for other businesses that they may be able to do that for them. So that I can say is my failure. I look at that as a failure.
Okay. So you were that person that, someone would come to and say, hey, this is the type of dessert I want. I want a triple decker, I don't know, chocolate cake or something like that. But I wanted to have special eyes on it for Halloween. You would try to make that for that, like that
Oh,
type of dessert for that person.
yes, I was going to try to do it,
Okay.
knowing I didn't know what I was doing, and being frustrated trying to get it done.
No, I know I get it, but that's good that you would even try because, like I said, I've had so many people that's just like, no, I can't do that. Sorry, and they don't even refer you to somebody else. So that's a good trait to have. But I get it. It was a failure for you because you felt like you were trying to be too accommodating to everybody and stressing yourself out in the same point. So I get it. So what's one common myth about your profession or your field? So something that they say about dessert companies.
Well, that you can look at that people will bring you a picture and say, John's Bakery is doing that. I would like that. So I know you can do it. So people just assume that because that you're a dessert business, that you should be able to copy other people's desserts when that was what that person did,
Yeah,
not what you.
that's rude. John is doing this, so yeah, you should be able to do it. Yeah, that's really rude. Um, okay, so how do you want to kind of debunk that myth? Like, what would you tell someone who actually came to your company and told you, like, this business is doing this, you could do it too? What would you tell them?
What I do now that I can't. It's just, again, back to what I said before. It's like when it goes back to failures, that I can't do it,
Yeah.
and I say they may charge you more, but this is their specialty. You need to go to them to get it done.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Okay. So, what's the best part of running your own company?
Everything, everything. Because it's like sometimes when I put my hand in the batter, but like the flour and the sugar and the eggs, and everything begins to come together.
Hmm.
And you're like, okay, this looks and it tastes good. And then and then after that you think it looks and it tastes good. But when you give it to somebody else and they say, oh, I really enjoyed that. I have I have a couple customers, but one of my first customers, he said, I always have to keep a hummingbird cake in the freezer just in case I don't see you, because I always want that cake, like the other day, this man said he was cleaning out his garage, and I used to do pop-ups at Whole Foods in Cherry Hill.
Okay.
And he said to me, I found your card. Are you still making that peach cobbler? And I said, yes. He says, would you make me some peach? Would you bring it down, make some and bring it down? I said, yeah. Before I spoke to my husband has to drive me. And before I told him we were driving to Cherry Hill to deliver 4 peach cobblers. But it was just, and the look on the man's face when I was able to deliver it to him was priceless, I'll say.
Oh, so you made a happy customer.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love peach cobbler. You shouldn't have said that because now I'm hungry. We're gonna have to talk after this recording because I'm like, Thanksgiving is coming up, so I'm gonna need to secure some peach cobbler. Okay, so what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue the similar career to yours?
The most important thing, again, I say go to learn the business, go to school, get a mentor, because the food business is different from any other, especially in the state of New Jersey. New Jersey is is the only state in the union that does not allow you to bake products or self-make food products from home to resell. You have to do your products in a commercial kitchen. You need there's certain licenses that you need to have, and that's the most important thing. To don't skimp on anything like skimp on your training. Take the time to learn the business and treat it as a business, not because it's such especially in food, a difference between a hobby and a business. You have to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And having the proper training, because somebody will say to you, do you have a certificate? And you have to say, oh, yeah, I have one. Where do you have where is your kitchen? You need to be able to have all of that, and even though you're paying a little bit more, it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Keep you out of trouble and to make sure that your business doesn't get shut down. So hopefully you future bakers that's out there that's listening to this, you realize that, you need to get an education before you start your own business. Okay. All right. So what characteristics and skills are most important for small business owners and leaders? What do you
Thick
think they are?
skin. Thick skin.
Okay.
That's because there's so many times
Yes.
you in your mind want to say something and you just have to just keep it in and smile and just and that's all, and that's the most important characteristic I think people need to have.
Okay.
Because you just have, because when somebody says something, and they will, I don't care if it's your best friend or your arch enemy, they're going to say something to you about your business that you want to reach up and slap them. And I mean, you just say, oh, you put the biggest smile upon your face and say, oh, you're right. And then you go back. If you want to cry, go back into your house. You close your door of your business, and you can cry. But just don't in front. Just say, okay.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I had to learn that the hard way because I am one of those people that likes to rah right then and there. And, I realize in business, I can't do that. So definitely tough skin is something that you need to have if you're starting your own business. You definitely need to have tough skin. So, and like I said, I learned that the hard way because I had a business before this one. And because of my attitude, it didn't go the way I needed it to go. So, I definitely agree with that. Is there any other skills that you feel like you would need for a small business owner or a leader?
You have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded.
Mm-hmm.
I belong to a mastermind group, and they push me because a lot of times, sometimes we get to, especially at my age, you say, well, you know. But as I just told my husband, I says, when you're the smartest one in your group, you need to find another group. And so with especially find people that are doing what you're doing. Listen to like you're saying, or what were your pitfalls? What do I need to know? What should I be doing? Do you have any suggestions for me? And I find that that's helpful.
Okay. I like that. Surround yourself with positive people. And that seems like that's a trend with everyone that comes up here. They say that, surround yourself with positive people. So I'm hoping everybody that's listening is actually catching that. So you got to change your circle. Sometimes you got to let some people go that, don't belong and find yourself a new circle. So I definitely agree. So what are some of the best resources that helped you along the way with starting your business and even in your business today?
One of my best resources is the owner, Italo. He is of the kitchen that I bake in.
Mm-hmm.
They had him and his brother were restaurant owners before they started the commercial kitchen. They had closed their kitchen down. Mm-hmm. And then decided, well, let me see if this works, because there weren't many commercial kitchens available to people that were looking. There were a lot of people that wanted to get into the food business, but they really didn't have a commercial kitchenette to bake out of. And between Italo and his brother Guido, if I needed whatever I needed to know, mm-hmm. especially about the food business, they were willing to share it. And I have found them extremely helpful. And and just with different, even though they have theirs is basically Italian food business, but they were able to help me in my desserts, giving me ideas, suggestions, what I should be doing, and and also just teaching me different ways and how to scale my products, because there's a difference between baking preparing products for one cake and then preparing products for 30 cakes.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things that I could say that I learned from them.
Okay.
And I'm still learning from them.
Okay. All right. Any other resources you would like to share for anybody else? Some things that you use? I know you said that you use SCORE. Is there anything else?
There's also the small business development centers, New
Okay.
Jersey, and there's there and my there's NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners.
Oh, okay.
That those are basically, and I also, there's a lot of workshops that I've taken online of people that are in the food industry that I've taken their classes, those type of things.
Okay.
So
Awesome. So this is similar to the question I asked earlier. I had asked you what advice would you give someone that wants to start a business similar to yours? But on the other side, what advice would you give someone who just wants to start any type of business?
as I said before, I had a hat business,
Mm-hmm.
and I I would say find, if you're interested in retail, find somebody else that's doing retail. A lot of times, people that have maybe a retail business, for example, and you go to them and just say, you know what, I really would like to learn. Can you help me? You might have 10 people tell you no, but you'll have that one person that says, somebody helps me, I'm going to help you. And I find that in some businesses, it's helpful. Well, I say in all businesses, it's helpful to find somebody that's doing what you want to do, to kind of follow them and ask them, just would you mentor me? And usually they will. So
Yeah.
that
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So with the holidays coming up, right? Um, what is some of your signature dishes that we can expect from your company?
pecan pie,
Ooh.
sweet potato pie,
Oh my God.
peach cobbler.
Okay.
Um, in cakes, it will be like the Louisiana crunch cake. The Louisiana crunch cake is vanilla, buttermilk, sour cream cake. And in the top of the cake, before you bake it, you put a layer of coconut. After it's finished baking, you put a coconut and almond glaze on top of it. And it's like it melts in your mouth.
Oh my God. You saw my mouth open, right? I was like,
That,
oh man. Okay. I am so hungry. Yeah. Anything else for Christmas? Or
always will be a lemon cake.
okay.
I guess for me that's one of my signature cakes. And then we call this in the family, and the hummingbird cake. We also call it the cake that don't last. And the reason we call it the cake that don't last is it's a banana cake with pineapple, pecans, and then it is so moist and such a blending of things. It also has a cream cheese icing with pecans on the top. But it's like my sister-in-law, when she was funny, she said that when she had picked one up, and she said she cut a little slice for herself. She says, I'm coming back for it later. And when she went in the kitchen, she was like, what happened to my cake? So and with the the cake. It's funny. I tell people, when you heat it up, forget it. That's it.
Oh my
Because once that smell goes to the house, and it's so warm, and it's like, even people that don't like bananas will say, "Oh, this is really a nice cake." So
it sounds good. Miss, I know you said don't call you Miss Judith, but we're gonna have to talk after this podcast. I think I want to put an order in for Thanksgiving because we usually have it at my in-laws' house, and I'm sure I'll just let them know that I'll be bringing the desserts this year. There's about 2 or 3 things that I want that you talked about today. Okay, so here is my signature question. So I ask every guest this question, mainly towards the end of the podcast. So what is something unique that no one knows about you or one of your products in your business?
Most people don't know. A few do.
Okay.
I don't like desserts.
What?
I don't. I'm not. I look at people, and my husband is one who has a sweet tooth. That my husband can sit down and eat a cake and eat, and forget about the food. But I have never, I tell people that a cake can turn purple before I'm gonna eat it. I don't that. And I know, and they'll say, and I know the question, your follow-up is, well, how do you know what the thing, I know what it should smell, it smells like, I know what it should taste like, and as long as I can look at the cake, and I can smell, and I say, okay, it's fine, but I just don't have a desire to eat desserts. I don't care what it is.
So I have so many questions about that. So you don't like dessert. So what made you start like baking and stuff like that?
I like the look on people's faces when they tasted them.
Okay.
So and I bake bread, but I don't bake bread or biscuits for people to sell. I just do it for fun, and to me, like things like that, they were a challenge. Mm-hmm. And once I learned how to do it, I was like, okay. And then somebody would eat it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, you heard it first. That is very interesting because most people who bake, they like sweets. So that's interesting to know. Okay. So, Judith, how can our listeners connect with you online if they wanted to put in an order for Thanksgiving?
Okay. My web address is judithsdessertboutique.com, mm-hmm. or they could either email me at Judith dessertboutique.com. And we can go from there.
Okay. All right, guys, you heard it first. And this is a wrap for this episode. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.